Yep. With that being said, Matthew, what we'll go ahead and do is just ask you a couple questions kind of to find out in regards from your career if this would be a good fit for you. With that being said, um, we'll start off by asking, what would you say kind of excites you about being in this or pursuing this role?
Um, like I said it in the previous interviews and even in the Spark one, I've always enjoyed working with my hands. I've done everything from automotive glass repair to countertops to heavy machine operation. I've touched a little bit of everything. The one thing about this role that excites me, it's kind of a mixture of things that I've done in my previous roles, sales, and being able to be hands on. One thing is I love being able to make a customer happy. Um, I'm personable, doesn't matter the walk of life. I can somehow figure a conversation out and have that conversation go on for hours. Um, Outside of that, I've worked with my hands since I was a kid. My dad was in construction, drove trucks, so I got my jump start at a very young age from him.
No, and that's good. And the fact that you can kind of relate to that, due to kind of it's a hybrid role, does we'll be doing the technician roles, but at the same time, the sales roles. You can have a good conversation with customers. That's I feel it's kind of the core fundamental of a sales. Um, Ask questions, find out what they need,
Mm-hmm.
build rapport, kind of gain the trust. As an expert in the garage door industry, I know not having that background is something that you could say you can apply yourself to learn the product, anything with that industry, things like that.
Oh yeah, like we had a quote, we had a motto in the car industry at Toyota. It's you're not selling a car, you're making a friend.
Hmm.
You're making a friend. The cell is going to make itself. That's how they explained it to us. The cell is going to make itself. You're just making a friend. Find out the answers, but do it in a way you're talking to your buddy. Get the answers where you're not prying, but you're getting them to kind of break down that wall.
Yeah, and that's key. Like you said, once you kind of build that rapport, build that trust, it makes just everything easier on that part. We feel that in this role, like I mentioned from the phone interview, for the most part, you'd be doing a repair job or depends on what the service is. But while you're there, able to strike that conversation of say, well, you notice the wear and tear of the garage door. Have you build that connection with them, we could say,
Right.
that you can ask them and say, have you ever thought about purchasing a new garage door? Find out what their budget is, give them options, and then just kind of put that in, emphasize and let them know that there are options based on their needs.
Right.
Um, Similar to how you said, just working at the dealership, finding out what they're looking for and then just kind of customizing the sale for them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Kind of all
Uh,
in together.
yeah, that's the key. With that being said, looking for, candidates that are going to be driven, that are going to be goal oriented, since it is going to be also commission based, so you can add additional income. Uh, with that being said, one of the questions we always ask is a goal that you've accomplished that you feel proud of.
One of the ones was when I was at Dick Hanna Toyota. We were kind of having a competition. Me and one of the senior guys, he kind of took me under his wing. Him and I after work would go out, play pool, have drinks. He talked with me, give me advice. Kind of in a way, I looked at him. I even told him almost like a fun uncle.
Mhm.
You're like a fun uncle who I get to work with, but still mess with outside of work.
Yep.
And it was actually my birthday month, and he bet me my birthday. He's like, "Hey, look, you beat me in sales this month. I'll take you out for drinks. Tab is on me. Does not matter." Okay, you know what? I'll take that bet. He goes, "If you lose, you take me out."
Yep.
Okay. Uh, my record had already been 17. I knew I could beat that. He wasn't on average 15 to 18 guy. I ended up beating him by two car deals. I ended up having 28. He had 26. And
Wow.
I got lucky. It was because the customer he ended up buying, he had a son with him, and his son ended up buying a car that same day.
Kind of like a two for one. That's
So
it.
it was the luck of the draw. The way he put it was the car gods were shining on me that day. So when it comes to stuff like that, I'm determined. I'm focused. I don't like to lose.
Yeah.
So if there's a wager put on, I'm now going to go way harder than I probably should because I want to win.
Yeah, it's kind of competitive in nature. I know you talked
Mm-hmm.
about in regards to kind of sports minded, playing basketball. So it kind of goes along with being in a sales role. It's you can have friendly competition with let's say other staff members, but at the same time, just with yourself, you want to push yourself. You want to be the best in your position, and that translates into sales. With that being said, sold 28 in a month. Is that
Mm-hmm.
what it was? What would you say would be kind of difficulties you dealt with during that?
So where I worked out in Longview, which, as you know, I'm an ethnic person out there. There's not many ethnic folks, especially at the dealership I worked at. So for me, the challenges were getting people to want to work with me.
Mhm.
And a lot of the time, those folks are very, I'm just going to put it the way I'm thinking it. They're very country, very, stuck in their
Different
way.
mindset. Yeah.
Yep. So and this is where I trace back to, my upbringing. My dad, my mom's the black one, my dad's the white one. I got my jump start in construction and working with my hands from my dad at a young age. And my dad went through a similar thing growing up in St. John's, which was a predominant black neighborhood. Matthew, just adapt. Figure out the quick similarities in that, that quick 15 seconds. There's your conversation. At that point, they're not going to look at you. They're going to see, oh crap, this is a working man. Build off of that, you can work with it. When I used to do tub refinishing, I did that for 3 years. I would go to a lot of small towns, little country towns, especially when the whole Trump thing was at its peak in 2020 and 21. Um, Dealt with a lot of racism and racist comments. At the end of the
Mhm.
day, it's going to happen. It's the world we live in. I take it with a grain of salt because I'm not going to let what somebody said affect my work. If it's really that bad, I'll call management. Hey, this is, in my mind, an unsafe space for me to be in to do this.
Mhm.
Is there a different way we can go about it? I'll explain it in the truck. I'm walking there now. At that point, if it's something extreme, I'm going to call, management. If I
Yeah.
can deal with it, I can deal with it.
And again, unfortunately, we live in sometimes where certain, I guess, places that it's kind of more of um, it happens more often than not.
More
It
pro.
shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, just kind of said from you could say from upbringing, from like you said, hardworking, work ethic that you learned from your father, and able to just kind of take it as um, you can't change how they think. You could only change how you react to it,
Mm-hmm.
in a sense. So, like you mentioned, you take it as a grain of salt, but you learn to adapt. And would you say just kind of growing that, have you applied it to yourself and excelled in your career for the most part?
Oh yeah. If there's one thing I said this in the application, I pride myself on my respect.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And I even said, when I did tubs, I used to work around the elderly a lot. I would go to retirement facilities and stuff like that and refinish the tubs and showers there. And I met a gentleman, and one thing he said was, some people don't, deserve your respect, but you give it to them anyway because that just shows your character. They can disrespect you, but you still showing them respect shows your character as a man.
True.
I, in the day, I'm not going to let what somebody thinks or says get me so upset to where it's going to have me act out of my character.
Wow. It's a good way of thinking, and it's, good advice. Um, it goes with, like you said, when we asked you questions on, core values. We're big as a company, find out if the core values align with the company's values, of integrity, honesty, and commitment to delivering superior service. I believe your core values, what you put down, it was that itself. It was respect, honesty, and determination. You told me a little bit about the respect, but why would you say you listed those?
For me, respect kind of went over that one. With honesty, I've worked at companies with where I've had to have a partner where, say, so for countertops, that was a two-person job. We're lifting countertops into people's houses.
Yep.
Um, we had a sink run blowout, and the sink run is where your sink is going to sit underneath, and sometimes that piece can be very thin at the shelf right here. So right at the beginning, it can be a little thin, and depending on the material, you can look at it the wrong way, and it wants to crack on you.
Wow.
We
Gotta be
had one
precise.
we should have. I ended up telling my manager when we got back after my lead had already called him and said everything had gone well, nothing broke. Customer had already seen it as we went out to the truck. Customer had already, saw the piece. My lead tried to cover it up, lie about it. He fixed it, glued it all back together, made it look like it didn't happen, but it was the fact that it still happened and he tried to cover up. I'm somebody where I don't like to lie to my customers. If something happens on a job and it goes wrong, I'm going to communicate that with my customer. Hey, this is what happened. I'm going to go call my manager, communicate this with him. We're going to come up with a solution. I'm not going to try to
So,
cover it up. I'm not going to try to do a quick fix. I would much rather get chewed out for making the mistake than having a bigger consequence down the road when it gets found out. Because it doesn't matter how well you hide it, it's going to somehow come to light.
yeah, it's true. What you yeah, having that integrity of knowing that if it was kind of putting, if it was you as a customer at this point,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't you rather want them to know, to tell you,
And that's the
rather
way
than to hide it?
I view every job that has been with me being in someone's house as if I'm working in my own.
Okay.
So I will take those extra steps, those extra precautionary steps. If I have to stay, 10 extra minutes just to double check and go over some things, because I know myself, I can work a little fast. I'll take that, those extra steps. Okay, let me double check this real quick, make sure, oh, that doesn't look tight enough to me. That doesn't look right. Let me go ahead and adjust that, make sure that this is all pristine. I'll go over everything.
Yeah. And that's key. Kind of doing a final walkthrough just to make sure that everything is up to, let's say, your standards, but at the same time company standards, and for the most part customer standards. So
Exactly.
that would be something that is crucial, and that's great. That you're actually able to kind of go through that from previous roles. Um, that being said, so we got to know about a little bit more about your values, kind of how you are. If I were to ask you right now, Matthew, how would you say others were to describe you?
Um, a lot of my friends, especially my long-term ones who have known me, since my teenage years, will tell you one thing that hasn't changed is my energy.
Mhm.
Um, I'm very high energy. I'm very on the go. Um, my cousin, who I hang out with to this day, we grew up skating together. He'll tell you that I am, when it comes to my determination, I can fall. We used to skate. I can fall 1,000
Mhm.
times. I'm still gonna get up and land my flipping trick. I don't care. Once my mind is focused on something, I want to do it.
Yeah,
Um,
determined.
um, my girlfriend will tell you my attitude is very no quit. Um, my attitude is always positive. She's watched me go through a lot of hardships. She's heard a lot of my hardships. I always try to keep a positive mindset. Doesn't matter. There's one thing I learned at a young age was it can be dark. There's always light. Focus on the light.
Yeah.
And
It's
my dad, he's worked with me, and he'll tell you that I I don't quit. I have an attitude where if you can't tell me I can't, I'm going to.
well,
I'm just gonna do it. I tell my kids, and this is something I live by, the word can't isn't a word, because there are people who said that and end up doing what they said they can't. So you can do anything. And that is one thing I've instilled into my kids at a very young age. And that is something my youngest right now with his sports quotes back to me all the time.
and ties all with the core values. You know, you want to go ahead and instill those values, as with your kids. Um, Having a supportive girlfriend is always just itself having support is great because it kind of gives you a chance to, like you said, for the most part, you're determined, you have high energy. Um, Sometimes, life can kind of, so in a way knock us down. But if you kind of have that positive mentality and have a good support system, you're able to get through anything. So that's great that you have that. How we kind of feel that that ties into this role is in regards to, let's say you set yourself to a certain, let's say, sales goal, like you did from the car for a month. You're just not getting, customers are really, trying to buy for whatever reason. Um, but staying optimistic is key. Know that you maybe not this customer, but maybe the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. So it's good to be determined.
There's one yes. And here's the thing, the way we saw it in the car industry was once you get that one yes, the lid's now open. So now all of them are going to flood in. You're going to get 10 no's before you start to get them yeses to come in. It's just how you stay in the moment. If you let those no's, bring you down, hey, you're going to keep getting no's. But
Yep.
you stay optimistic, stay ready. Those yeses are going to start coming in, and you're going to you're not going to expect how many come in.
Um, Having that support, like you said, and wanting to be a good, in a sense, role model for your kids. Letting them know that be positive. Be determined. Don't give up. Don't think that you can't. Um, have you ever had, let's say, a mentor, a support in the workplace throughout your career?
Oh yeah. My coworker Jesse at Dick Hanna, even to this day, he still will text me, call me, hey brother, how you doing? Just want to check in on you. How's everything going? How the kids doing? How's life? He,
Mhm.
from the moment we got hired around the same time, and from the moment we got hired, him and I just kind of gravitated towards each other because we had the
Okay.
same, we had the same energy, the same go get attitude, and he could see that. Um, we had at the time we had team leads. He asked my team lead, "Hey, can I take Matt and work with him?" I had already been talking with Jesse, outside of work, during work, kind of giving him little insights to who I was and how I operated. And him and I both, a lot of our things aligned. And he became the one that, was the one that told me, selling cars, it's making a friend.
Yeah.
Most people, if they're talking about wanting a car, 9 times out of 10, that they want the car. It's just you're making a friend. You're now answering questions in a way that you would, answer questions for your buddy. You're not making it sound sales pitchy. You're, hey, what's up, man?
Conversation.
Oh, hey, you like this leather, dude? It's comfortable, but look at the heated seats that go with it.
Yeah.
Like throwing things in there. He taught me a lot of how to stay calm in certain moments, especially in the car industry, because the car industry can be very stressful because it
Mhm.
is 100% commission based. So your emotions and feelings are going to get wrapped into it very quickly because you're thinking, all right, if I don't make this sale, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
He gave me a lot of advice of staying calm, cool, and collective when it happens. He goes, and the same thing I said. He told me for 10 no's, dude, a yes is going to come in, but your attitude is going to determine those yeses coming in. You're going to get 10 no's, but once you get that yes, that lid's popped off. Now they're going to flood.
Yeah. Oh, but it's true. Just kind of saying, your attitude and just kind of staying positive. If the sales will come by just as long as you continue with that core fundamental of saying you are the expert, you know how to do the job. It's just a matter of applying to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like you said, at the end of the day, having conversations, not making it seem like a sale in a sense. There's a saying, nobody really wants to be sold. They just want to make sure they make a good purchasing decision. That's like
Right.
another way of saying it. With that being said, that's similar to kind of we feel in this role. For the most part, like we mentioned, being able to, be have technical aptitude. That's going to be key. But at the same time, able to address customers' needs, which is important. Able to kind of have that communication, set the expectation. Let's say you show up to a job site, because there's going to be customers that are going to be, as soon as you get there, great, glad you're here. There's the garage. Let me know when you're done.
Right.
And then there's going to be some that are going to want to be there, ask a million questions, want to know what you're doing, why you're doing it, while you're doing it. So it's kind of like able to kind of steer through those. Can you give me an example when you had to deal with a difficult situation
Oh,
with a customer?
Miracle Method is my favorite example. Because I got a mixture of both. I had one customer who was so determined on sitting by me and watching the job. He brought out his own respirator as I was starting to spray. So he could be there to
Wow.
ask me questions on how I sprayed it, why I sprayed it this way, why I had my turbine set at this level and I had my gun set at this level. Then, I had the customers where, hey, my name is Matthew. I'm here for Miracle Method, here to refinish your tub. All right, well, bathroom's that way to the right, around the corner. When you're done, just let me know so I can lock the door on the way out.
Great.
Gotcha. But to be honest, like my favorite ones, and it's gonna sound weird, are the ones that actually want to like see what you're doing and want to ask the questions because they're curious. I'm a curious guy. I'm one
Yes.
of those people where if it's something I've never seen, hey, what you doing up there? Oh, oh, that's why you do that. Like, I have
Mhm.
kids. I see it as a teaching moment.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get mad because I have a customer who's curious about what's going on in their home.
Yeah. At the end of the day, like you said, you're in their domain. That's, they're gonna want to know what you're doing first, just for curious reasons, but at the same time, you never know if maybe they've had a difficult or a bad situation before, which,
Exactly. You don't know the
so
situation at all. So yeah,
yeah.
like
So
got to look at it as what has happened in the past. Let's give them a better experience.
yes, that's important how you just mentioned that because the word experience. You could provide a service, but if you give great experience, that's one of the things that they're going to remember. From the moment, let's say somebody calls in for precision, they're just asking to see what we're about, what services we offer, or if they're looking for a certain product for their garage door needs. Um, from the moment they make that initial call till the end of the project, whether it's an installation, a repair job, or they just sold a garage door, you want to give them that experience. We call it a 5-star service. Um, we take a lot of pride in that. If you were to go to the website, the first thing you'll notice is the thousands of reviews you know
Oh,
customers leave.
I looked at the website and went through them.
You saw, and at
I
the end
saw
of
a
the
bunch of
day,
them. It made me happy to see that because Miracle Method, if there was one thing I prided myself on was good service. And in my first year, I ended up having the top reviews. And it's mainly
yeah,
because I come in smiling with a good attitude. Doesn't matter if it's, excuse my language, piss and rain, if it's dumping snow, it doesn't matter to me. I'm gonna come up, hey, how you doing? I'm Matthew. I heard you
yeah,
have a tub that needs to look brand new. And I'm doing something, trying to crack a joke to brighten the day. And that was always one thing my reviews always said. He's positive from the moment he shook my hand to the moment he left. I've had ones where I've had to go refinish, a customer's tub because something happened. Still got a, 5-star review. Hey, he admitted that this went wrong. He called his boss. He communicated to me, came back, did a 10 out of 10 job. I recommend him no matter what because his communication was top notch.
yeah. And you try to I don't want to say the word, but even though it sounds like that, you separate yourself from the rest. You want to be the person they remember. Did a great job. Like you said, you take pride in that, and that's one of the things that aligns with what precision. We want to be able to be the ones that, whether you did a small job, big job, doesn't matter. They're gonna come back and say, "I want that person," or "I want that service to be done again." Um, you always want to make sure that you get to know them in like in a sense, kind of what you were saying. It's you kind of have that friendly conversation. You make a friend. You didn't make the sale, but you made a friend, and
Mm-hmm.
that goes with it.
Because who
Um,
they might have a family member or a friend themselves who's in need of service. Oh, hey, I know a guy. We just had them come in, check ours out, repair ours. I knew you guys are, needing a new one. Here, his name is Matthew, works for Precision Garage. Give him a call. He'll come out, and I promise you, you're gonna have a good time with him.
yeah. And that's key because at the end of the day, like you said, you never know. Referrals can come from at any time, any moment. Um, and it all just depends. Once we feel that you represent the brand. The moment you put the uniform on, you're driving the company vehicle
Mm-hmm.
with the big precision logo. You have to take pride in what you do. So that's one of the things we feel that not just while you're dealing with the customers, but at the same time, just throughout your day. Um, in this in particular role, there's a good chance to make a good income based on the commissions. So if you start, let's say go throughout as you start after the training, the onboarding, kind of go through the process. One of the things we always say is just kind of pick, people that have been there, pick their brains, find out what works for them, try to know the ins and out, and then you can kind of apply it to your style or your
Mm-hmm.
method of salesmanship. And you'll see that the good, I'm gonna say the sales um, and service techs are the ones that provide great customer service, communicate very well, and are always upbeat. So that's one of the things we do. Good qualities we see, Matthew. With that being said, one of the things that we also focus on is not just the communication as verbally, but at the same time being detail oriented, being organized. Um, that being said, CRMs on the technology side, did you use any software or in previous roles?
Yeah. So Dick Hanna, we actually had a four different four different programs we would use on the computer. One of them for online sales, one of them for when customers were in the dealership. Um, Another one was for company updates and software updates throughout the company. And then our other one was for communicating with management, even though management was sitting right behind us.
Just kind of keep everything in um, how can I say, like kind of like emails, just making sure everything is on record in a sense.
And then growing up, my uncle did a lot of IT work for a lot of the
Okay.
Portland public schools. So during the summer, I'd go learn how to, mess with computers, build computers, and do software updates, different programmings. My brother is more the technical wizard. I'm the give me a drill and let me have fun. But
Yeah.
when it comes to the technical standpoint, I'm easy to adapt. I can understand it. If I get confused, I ask questions. I don't like going into something, with half the knowledge or just being like, yeah, hey, I got it, but I really don't just
Oh.
because I wanted to,
Mhm.
get it done. No, I would much rather ask a question two, three times so I understand it than go into something, having to, do the guessing game.
Yeah. And asking questions, sometimes, people think that, oh, it's because they don't understand, they don't know. Well, I would rather want someone to ask me questions so they fully grasp what they're doing, but at the same time, the role, rather than someone, like you mentioned, would say, yes, I understand, but that when it comes time to, do the job or the task, they're sitting there.
Hey, Walter. So see, what had happened was I kind of went. I lied during the training. This is where I'm confused at. How do you? Well, now we have to send another tech. So now you're costing the company more money because you didn't want to ask you know a set of questions to help you understand something better.
Yeah, yeah. And it's always better just to kind of, like I said, ask the question because sometimes, especially when there's group training, because there is going to be, um, in a position, a certain standard way of training that they assist on a certain sales technique, consultative sales approach type. So we are looking for someone, of course, that still could be coachable in a sense. Uh, One of the things we talked about in one of the last trainings was being a student of life. You could have 20 years sales experience, 20 years on the technical side, but you can always still learn something. And especially how times, change. You have to learn how to adapt. In this case, like you said, with technology, CRMs, you find a way how technology that's advancing in a fast rate, how can we apply that to our everyday work?
Right.
Things like that. So just kind of having that mentality, and then just applying it to your sense of like I mentioned, your style of sales, your personality. You're going to learn something, let's say, a little bit different rather than the person next to you. They might, take things or interpret things a certain way than you would. So you just kind of have to personalize it in a sense.
Make it
Uh,
like
yeah,
one thing that I figured out that worked for me when it came to selling cars was I like to crack jokes.
okay,
I realized if I can make you smile and laugh, I have about an 8 to 9 times, 8 to 9 out of 10 chance of getting you to come in and at least look at numbers and paperwork. And if I get you to come in and look at numbers and paperwork, I'm getting you to leave in a new car. And that's
yeah.
how I took it. So I would try to, crack jokes and certain things. It's gonna sound terrible, but me being black, I always made a joke, I'm the Negro whose knees didn't grow. So you want this tall truck's a little hard for me. Let me go get my step stool so I can go hop in this thing. And
Just able to breaking the ice in a sense, letting them know it, be comfortable with you. Yeah.
and I would use myself as a joke, especially, if I could tell that the person was of a different upbringing, I would use
Mhm.
myself as the joke because now at this point, all bets are off. Like I just attacked me. So now I done opened the door wide open. We're comfortable here.
Yeah. And that's what's going to kind of like you said, just go build from there. Where it's not where it's going to be. I don't want to say kind of like a sales where it's kind of rigid. Everybody's going to be on the not so comfortable side. But look, I'm here to help you out.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just kind of go ahead and have fun while we're doing the process, pretty much. But no, and that's good. Like able to kind of like you said, break the ice, able to kind of get that established, that rapport established. So that's key. Um, Kind of going back to what we were talking about, being organized, being detailed, um, which is going to be key because as we kind of use that, the CRM, keeping everything organized from the moment you see the schedule and you have a certain, let's say, job throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
You do about 4 to 6, so you kind of have to be have time management. um, Go from one job site, take care of that, and then go to the next one. Any examples of when you've done something like that, where you have to kind of go to multiple job sites? Would the
Um,
Miracle Method probably be the best
Miracle.
work experience?
I worked for Wall to Wall Stone Court. With Wall to Wall, we were a commercial countertop business. It was me and a partner. When I became lead, I have a routine. I thrive
Mhm.
off a routine. So for me, it's I know where my stuff is at. I know where everything is gonna be labeled. I've checked my jobs the night before, so I've already figured out my route. I set myself up for my day. Um,
Okay.
with us, we normally have about 4 jobs a day. So, and they're anywhere from about 45 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on how many pieces we had to bring inside. But on average, say if I had 4, we're starting the day at 8 o'clock, getting loaded up. We're out of there at 8:30, getting to the first one about 9:30. We're out of the first one by at least 10:15. All right, we're gonna head to the second one. Second one, we're there at about 11:45, 11. out of that one at about 11:45 noon, go hit lunch, bang out our lunch, and then say we have a long one. That one's an hour and a half. So, we're done with that one at 2:30. Go to our next one. That one, medium size. We're done at that one at about 3:15, 3:30ish. We're back to the shop at 4:15.
Okay.
I like to plan and route my day out if it's possible. Miracle Method, I wouldn't know what I was doing till day of, but I knew that I would have about 2 to 3 jobs. So I could take my lunch, anywhere between about 11:30 to 12:30 and still be off between about 5 and 6. Because with tub refinishing, the tubs were anywhere from 2 to 4 hours a piece of, per refinish. So I would
Yeah.
map my day out. I also do therapy. So a lot of the time, my therapy would be my lunchtime. So incorporate that. So I'm still, while I'm at work getting my job done, I'm also getting some personal stuff handled in the mix too. But
Oh,
with Miracle Method, it was, I get to the shop at 7:30. I'm leaving the shop at 8, getting to my first one at 8:30. If I was going to Salem, I'm at Salem at 9. And normally, if I was in Salem, I was doing my entire day and leaving Salem about 4 o'clock, but still having my lunch anywhere between, 11 to noon.
okay. Kind of be able to manage your time, just
Mm-hmm.
kind of based throughout the day. Depends on the route, the jobs. But it goes into prepping and planning, and that's key.
And for me,
Um,
truck, I always made sure it was organized. So when I got to my jobs, I could boom, boom, boom instead of fumbling around try to find something. When
okay.
it came to my box van at wall to wall and my pickup truck for Miracle Method, I am OCD when it comes to my organization and cleanliness. I'm very management. For me, it's because again, I got kids. I want to be able to get home. The more your truck and things are organized, the faster your jobs are going to be because you're not going to be fumbling and stumbling to find something. So I didn't care if it took me 10 minutes to have to reorganize or 15 minutes to reorganize my truck. I'm going to reorganize my truck before I go to my next job. So I know when I get there, my job's going to go smooth. Because also, this is where the reviews come in. Customers will come outside. They see a dirty truck, they're going to think a dirty
Yeah.
work, which means they're going to think that their job is going to be dirty.
Yeah, it's a good way of seeing it because you'd be surprised what they focus on. From let's say if there's a time that says 3 to 3:15 is kind of the time that they're expected of arrival. 3:16, they're gonna know. And
I've
then
had
when you pull up,
like that where I've showed up, I've showed up a minute, I'm at the corner. Hey, just kind of curious where you're at, sir. I am literally at the corner. Look, I didn't know that there was construction over here. I
mm,
apologize. With those kind of customers, it's just, making sure that, that, that you're listening to them. It's not that they're being overbearing. It's just, some people get worried because, like we talked about earlier, they've had bad experiences.
oh yeah, yeah, it's kind of like if you ever dealt with kind of a cable company when they tell you they're gonna be there between 8 and 5 p.m. sometimes. So
You mean to tell me I got to sit at home all day waiting for you to get here?
and then they don't show up.
That's the worst one. Hey, no, we're gonna be there tomorrow between 12 and 4. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey.
it's one of the things where you feel that you value people's times, you have a certain schedule, um and it goes both ways. Let's say you finish a project and then there's somebody there that wants to say, hey, you know what, while you're here, can you come look at this? This is something else that we're interested in, but you already have a set appointment, like a back-to-back appointment.
Right.
um so just kind of be able to delegate through those things is key. And like you said, especially if you know how to prepare and plan your day ahead. um there's things that we feel just kind of based on what you experiences, you can kind of learn from those. Um, why we feel that this person role, someone that can be adaptable, knows how to use prior experiences to get through those situations. We like to say just the ability to identify complex problems and just kind of evaluate the options and implement the solutions. So be solution oriented, not problem focused,
Hmm.
in a sense. Um, One of the things that we do see is there's going to be some, like I said, physical demand when it comes to the garage doors. For the most part, we say, up to 50 pounds. Um, if it's an oversized garage door, this is where an assistant or a technician would come into play.
Right.
There's going to be a time where, let's say, you might be out and offer the assistance, and there's going to be a time somebody offers you the assistance. Um, would you say for the most part, like working by yourself and can work well with others?
I'm a team player. It doesn't matter. Like I said, wall to wall. I always had a
Mhm.
partner. Um, Again, I've had partners where we come from, different walks of life, but I can figure a way to connect with them and make the job go smooth and us both have a good time, being around each other.
Yeah,
Wall to wall, we're around each other 8 to, 12 hours a day. We got to like each other, some way, some way or form, but
yeah,
also
fine.
Miracle Method, the only time we were really on two person or, multi crew jobs was if we were doing a commercial job or
Okay.
college, like something like that. The majority of the time, like 90% of the time, it was by yourself. It's wake up, get to the shop, get your stuff, and then you're on the road getting your job done. If something goes wrong, call management. Hey, this is what happened. Um, went to move the drain and the top faucet. Pipe burst. I went underneath the house into the basement, shut water off. Hey, already communicated with customer. Customer already knows that the pipes are crap. That they are getting them redone. They just wanted to get the tub redone first. Now my manager's confused on why they just didn't get the
Mhm.
pipes redone first, then get the tub refinished because we're going to be coming back to do a repair on the tub now.
Yeah.
But communicated, problem solved. All right, pipe burst. Let me go down. All right, you have a basement. Is your water? Yes. All right, cool. Let me rush down there. Yeah, I'm going to get sprayed with water real quick. That's cool. But let me shut this off so we don't cause any further damage or problem.
Able to kind of go through, deal with those situations, but be communicative. Let people
Mm-hmm.
know what's going on, and then that way still say, this is the issue, this is how we're going to go about it, but in case it does kind of need to escalate it, this is where we stand. So it's important to kind of go through all that. Um, One of the things that, we feel that being in this type of role also, um, you are going to work for the most part. We say autonomous. Go throughout the day. Like I mentioned in the phone interview, you start your day usually in the office, the warehouse. So always make sure inventory's always up to date in the vehicle. It could either be for parts, or just certain tools that you might need.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Go throughout your day. Uh, so being comfortable working by yourself, like you said, can work well with others, and also, so that's going to be important. Um, with
Look,
that being
as long
said,
as I got some
okay,
headphones in and I'm by myself, I'm locked in and I'm good to go.
good, good. Uh, that's what we always, like I mentioned earlier, representing the brand. Since you're driving down the vehicle, as you're driving down the road, make sure, always just following safety protocols, not just while driving the vehicle, but in the workplace itself.
Oh,
One of the things we wanted to ask before I can get into questions is, um, commission based. How do you feel about kind of starting off with a certain, let's say, base salary or hourly pay, and then if it kind of goes into commission, is that something you'd be open? You
doesn't
prefer?
bother me at all because I know at the end of the day, I know my work ethic. And yeah, this is, kind of how, not every month is going to be a great month. Not
Mhm.
every month is going to be top notch. But, the opportunity for money, and it's not even just the money, but it's the advancement, because eventually I do want to be into a position like yours. Not everybody wants to be down on the ground all day. Eventually, I want to be in a management, supervisor lead type role.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm good with anything.
And that's good, like you said, just kind of being able to, you know, what you offer based on your career, what you gained, whether it's certain skill set, techniques, knowledge, um, and always wanting to grow, which is important, like you said, because maybe at this point right now, let's say you're offered the role, this first year you do really well, and then you decide the next year to say, you know what, I want to, if there's an opportunity, be a sales manager. I want to be in charge of a sales team, things like that. So again, opportunities are there. We are able to look at and see, this person does really well, not only, leads himself, but can lead others. And, there might be opportunities down the road. We want to be able to, from like or the GMs or the person in charge of the office, to mentor and provide guidance. Because you never know, like you said, maybe down the road, you might be offered a position where you might be able to provide guidance, be a mentor to up and coming technicians as well.
Like
So
I've
that's
always
good.
taken pride in training somebody, a miracle method. It got to a point where they were allowing me to train people. And I was, my second year in, we were hiring guys and they were, we hired three new guys. Hey, Matt, you want to take a trainee? What?
Mhm.
Yeah, we trust you. Your reviews, the things we hear from customers, when you're out on commercial jobs with your coworkers, they say that, you spray just as good as them. You talk, just as good as them, but you work just as hard as them.
Yeah.
Go train a dude. I think this guy right here will do really well under you. His, energy seems similar to yours. Hey, let's go for it. Come on, man. Like I like opportunities. I like different challenges. It excites me. Um, like you said, say in a year, something does open up. I take
And
challenge,
and
smile on my face, full excitement because it's something new.
and like you said, just kind of going into this is you can kind of say similar types of roles that kind of relate, but in a sense, it's you like you mentioned, it's a new challenge, it's a new venture. This is something where you can kind of see that you, and not only that, but seen in an optimistic where you can see yourself succeeding as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what I'm going to go ahead and do now is tell you a little bit about the location. Like you said, you did your due diligence, looked at the website, kind of saw what we're about. I'll give you a little bit of background and kind of the reason we're looking for the sales and service tech. Uh, So the company is owned, or this franchise, the location by a husband and wife duo, uh, Kim and Stanley Prozer. Um, they have a certain model, or kind of we say, just kind of culture that they've established, where they feel that nobody really works for us. We all work together. Like we mentioned, we just want the values, have good attitude, teamwork, because that's going to be huge. Like I mentioned, there is going to be a certain training that goes along with it that helps out for the sales techniques, getting you into the garage door industry so you can kind of have that product knowledge. It's called the Sandler training. Um, but for the most part, likes to have that family kind of environment. Everybody just at the end of the day likes to strive to help each other out. Doesn't matter if you're in a different position, let's say it's office admin or, able to kind of like where you work. Everyone's bought in. So looking for someone that can kind of come into that same role and be able to be bought in with what the company is kind of already established. That's what we look Um, for the most part, we feel that someone that's going to be able to be self-driven, doesn't really like are into micromanaging employees, just want to kind of set them up for success, give them the tools and say, here you go, make the most of the opportunities, and at the same time, make, we feel good income. For the most part, if I were to kind of give you a day to day, it would be where you'll go ahead and just kind of go to the shop, stock up, like I mentioned, with the tools, the products, the garage doors, or anything that has to do with certain parts, um, and just kind of go throughout your day about 4 to 5 calls that are going to be kind of pre-scheduled. So you kind of already have a daily route to kind of
Right.
go through. Um, Shifts can range anywhere between, we say, about 8 a.m. To 9 a.m. starting time till about 5 to 6. So you kind of have that time without throughout the day. And then also on Saturdays, there's going to be homeowners that aren't going to be available during the week.
Oh
So
yeah.
working Saturdays, it's part of the job. We always say it's kind of flexible. We say about it's a full-time job, but we say between 40 to 50 hours a week realistically, because there's going to be times based on commute times, you come back to the shop or come back to the office. So we kind of feel it averages about 40 to 45 hours, but up to 50 hours a week.
Doesn't bother me. When I was at Miracle Method, there were times where, I was going out to Salem. The job was so horrendous that, I wasn't getting done till 10, 11. Even sometimes,
Wow.
night the next day.
Late,
And then
late nights.
coming back, waking up again at 5 o'clock, going back to it. So the hours have never bothered me. Like I said, I watched my dad wake up at 3 in the morning and sometimes not come home till 9 o'clock himself. So, like,
Strong work
I know
ethic, just been able.
I can adapt, I can adjust. It doesn't matter. My kids know that, their dad, excuse my language, works his ass off.
Yeah,
Um, my kids know, if I have to work on a weekend that they're here, hey, when dad gets home, we're going to go out to dinner or something. We're going to go out and do this, or hey, we're going to have a, movie night.
spend time.
But they know at the end of the day, in order for us to have this, I got to do this.
Yeah, kind of establishing I said, dad's going to be working, but when he has the time dedicated, that's when they're going to be able to enjoy the moments. Kind of have that work-life balance in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's key. I know it's one of the, I wouldn't really say one of the things that as we're kind of looking for sales and service tech, looking for, of course, someone that could work with their hands, be personable, have sales experience, but kind of fit a certain profile in the sense of, has kids, is driven by, being able to not just be a provider for their family, but at the same time, when does have free time, enjoy that downtime with the kids. Kind of
Oh,
one of the questions we asked, interest, hobbies, and as we got to know each other, you told me about, being involved in basketball. Personally, um, my 13-year-old, I have two daughters, a 13 and a 15-year-old. My 13-year-old is into softball right now, so it's practices, going to weekend tournaments. That's
remember those?
all she wants to do.
I remember those days for myself playing basketball, and I could tell my mom and dad, especially my dad, he loved supporting my basketball,
You know,
but who he hated the weekend tournaments. Who
yeah,
I knew
you're
that man.
there all day,
And
and then if you advance, so it's
honestly, my ex, she had a daughter from a previous relationship, so she was actually doing gymnastics and cheerleading.
yeah,
So I actually get your sentiment on the traveling because we were going to gymnastics competitions, cheerleading competitions. She was trying to get into dance also, so we were going to those. Oh
wow.
Lord! And then my daughter right now, she wants to get into track, and she's very into
Okay.
dance herself. So I'm already dreading. I'm already dreading
Kind
it
of.
right now.
Yeah, it's how can I say it? It's sometimes it can be like it can wear you down in a sense from the time wise, but at the end of the day, it feels good knowing that you're proactive, you're part of their life, you're helping them out as they grow through it because they're moments that you're always going to remember.
It's
They're
just
memories in a sense.
stuff like you can be tired, but I actually explained this to my mom because she asked me one day. She goes, Matt, like, how do you do it? Like, you'll get off work one day. Tucker's got a game at this time. You got off at this time, and you're sitting there on the coach's sideline, coaching, running up and down, with the kids. I went,
Yeah,
Mom, here's the thing. I can't let them see that dad's tired.
yeah,
If they see that dad's tired, I went, Mom, you remember how I used to, look at the dad as a superhero? They look at me the same way I looked at dad. I'm their superhero. I can't let them see
yeah,
their superhero get tired.
yeah.
So I'm going to run
It,
up and down so they can see that, their hero is up and at them every day.
it kind of said it's just values, just like when we asked you, because we know that values are instilled at a young age when we're growing up. It could be our parents, grandparents, upbringing. So just like we also attain values as we get older through life experiences, sometimes sports teaches us certain values. We want to do the same thing for our kids in a
Mm-hmm.
sense, kind of show them that, if you learn strong work ethic from your parents, you want to go ahead and instill that to them. Like you said, be the superhero that doesn't get tired in a sense.
Yep.
Um, that's good. That's good. Like you said, we want someone with similar drive because we feel that there's a difference of staying busy but not overworked. And that's kind of why we feel this role is going to be. You're going to stay busy enough to, throughout the day with the work where you have a chance to make good commission. There's some techs that can make up to six figures, just kind of based on their sales tactics, how busy they are. But if that's something that you're willing to kind of put in the work for to kind of get to that range, it is doable. And that's where we feel that you can have that, staying busy but not being overworked, but making good income. With that being said, Matthew, I know we've covered a lot of information today, and we've got more insightful information from you. So thank you. See good qualities, uh, just to be able to kind of relate into this role. Any questions you might have, or anything that you might want to just talk about, I'll leave this time for you.
Honestly, going through the website, kind of going through reviews, I got a good insight of the company's morals and how they like their employees to be.
Yep.
And I feel like for myself, this is just me. I feel like for myself, everything aligns honestly perfectly. It's a role that I've looked for a while. I like the sales side of things because I like being able to talk and be personable and get to know people. But I also enjoy being the guy that, hey, we need this to go out, go get fixed. Here's your route. Cool, let's get it done. I love that it brings a mixture. Um, Hearing that it's owned by a husband and wife, I kind of already get a feel of like a mom pa, you know, type of feel.
Yep.
And that's actually where I got my start in doing countertops was for a mom pa shop. And that, at the early age of 21, really it instilled different core values in me. Kind of, going out with the owner himself, doing jobs with him, being around him and his family and picking his brain helped me understand what I wanted to do myself.
Okay. I give you.
So hearing that it's a husband and wife and that they like to have the family vibe makes me, I might not have shown it on the outside, but inside made me smile
That's good.
because those are the kind of companies that value and look at what their people are doing. And they see, hey, he's working his butt off. I feel like he's going to be good in this next position. Let's talk to him about it.
Yeah. And it's good, like you said, able to kind of see these things in regards to because that's what the company's about. Creating that teamwork. Family oriented. Um, will help you. Grow along the way. Um, that's kind of what we look for. Someone that's driven. So that has to align. And like we also said with the values. Um, Preferably, like you said, someone that has kids is going to be um, different mindset in a sense of rather than someone that's just kind of not saying that one is more preferable than the other, but being a provider. So it's someone that's going to be reliable, that's going to be able to be dependable. And like you said, just kind of based on the conversations that you and I've had today, from the work ethic that you want to instill on your kids. So it's good. Um, we just want to go ahead and we like to say just kind of flush out any concern
There's
about this role.
um
That's good.
I know pay wise with training, there's going to be a base pay with the training. And then I know once you're out of training, you get a base salary along with commission on top. I doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother me. Schedule doesn't bother me. My only thing is I do have a son who lives in California.
Yeah.
I get him for the school breaks and that, with me getting him, it's normally on a Saturday.
Mhm.
I do have the court paperwork for all of that, so I can bring that in if I need to. Um, I just want to know, would that be a problem at all? I get him Thanksgiving break, winter break, spring break, and summer break. And it's normally I go down on a Saturday, pick him up. He's there, if it's Thanksgiving and spring break. it's normally Saturday to Saturday. I pick them up, then I take them back home that following Saturday. Um,
Well, just to kind of clear up, for the most part, I know I mean, it's great. You know, you're active. Want to spend as much time with them, especially living out of state. Um, the best way to assist you or answer that would be um, that's something that can be discussed. You know, let's say if you are offered the position, um, to kind of go over scheduling. Maybe, you know, change the schedule where maybe the hours to accommodate kind of the work, but at the same time your personal needs.
yeah,
Can be discussed something with the technician manager, but at the same time, you know, the location manager. I don't want to give the wrong information and say no. It's
fine,
something that it's not going to be able to. You know, we can't work with that. No, of course not. We want to make sure that, you know, just like we make sure the job is taken care of, the employees are also happy. Know that the company's there to offer any assistance, because we know it's different of saying, well, I'm going to take this time off because I'm going to do something that's not really as important as, you know, spending time with the family.
right,
But again, it shouldn't hinder any issues on our part. So
yeah. Because hey, honestly, that I've had a couple companies find that a problem in the past, so I just wanted to ask that now. Literally, the Saturdays, it's with summer, it's I get him beginning of June. He goes home beginning of August, and it's
yeah,
yeah. So with that, it never like I don't take time off in between. If I do, it's something I've scheduled, and I will communicate with sales manager and the technician manager. Like, hey, can I request this time off? How do I put it in? Boom, boom. But it's when that time has been accrued and everything. But for the most part, I try not to miss work for really anything.
yeah,
Um,
dependable. Right.
other than that, it's just he's the only one that I got to go pick up. My other ones I get every other weekend.
Yeah, kind of said it, and like you said, you've already kind of had a certain structure with it, so you should be fine. If anything, if just kind of it does get brought up, if you know, once we kind of move forward with the in person, you know, it's okay to talk about it because at that point, we always feel that transparency kind of goes both ways. You
Right.
know, if you're the more information we get from you based on schedule and things like that, we'll work around it. That's kind of how we feel. But thank you for sharing that. Um, that being said, just to kind of give you kind of next steps would be gather all my information based on what we got on the phone interview, this interview, the application, the Spark hire. I know it's kind of a lot within like a 2 week period, but for the most part, it gives us a good idea of, you know, the type of person you are, you know, what you've shown in the past in regards to your career, but at the same time, what you're looking for in a company and in your next venture, as we said. We want to make sure that this company and the position aligns with what you're looking for. So once we kind of feel that that's, you know, it's mutually aligned, I send this information, like I mentioned, to the owners and then the location manager. So then at the end of the day, Kim and Stanley can make a decision based on, um, you know, everything we went over with. And then we just set up an in-person interview. Um, I will get back to you in regards to the time and date. I know they're trying to find someone as quick as possible, so I'm going to send all my information today. In case they say, can he come to the office tomorrow? Can he come to the office Monday? What is your availability?
I can be there tomorrow. I can be there Monday.
Okay.
Right now, where I'm at, I'm kind of on an on call schedule with the job I'm at. Um, so yeah, the next Friday I'm on call. Stuff normally doesn't happen until nighttime. It's fires, so most stuff for us doesn't happen until night. And then Monday is actually my day off, so I'm free either day.
Okay. And then just to confirm, I think just I just want to make sure because if they ask, you know, what you're currently doing, this is not at the dealership anymore, right? Or
No, oh no, I believe I stated on our first one, I'm at a company called Robinson Restoration.
oh, that's right, the restoration company. Great,
Mm-hmm.
great, great. All right. So on call, but if given enough time, can accommodate.
But I have a partner
And
that I work with, so all it is me telling them, "Hey, man, I have an appointment to go to," or
to
"Hey,
go there.
I'm going like he's to be honest, he's also looking for another job too. So he's
That's good.
communicated that with me. He's kind of tired of the on call himself.
Working with each other in that sense.
Yeah, like
And
he actually has himself an interview next week to go be a project manager. So
okay.
he's actually very excited about that one. Him and I've we've gone out for a couple beers and I've discussed our different things and everything. So, but
That's good. At least able to kind of work with that. And then let's say, I know holidays are coming up as well. Let's say if, they go through the in-person interview and everything goes great and they offered you the position by next week. How soon would you be able to transition into
I'll
this
just
role?
that as soon as possible. I'm going to be completely honest with you. This on call stuff is murder. It is it's honestly terrible, especially for a person who has kids and has a family. It's absolutely terrible.
That's Yeah, I can see kind of looking for more of that stability, the structure
Mm-hmm.
in that sense. So, great, great. Great information. At least, we know timeline, everything is aligning up. Um, with that being said, Matthew, thank you. Thank you for allowing this time and just working with me. I know I'm trying to assist, Kim and Stanley as best as I can, to fill this position.
Oh yeah,
Um, there was a couple of other sales and service techs that were hired on because they were actually um, losing jobs because they didn't have enough techs. So there's a good possibility. We don't like to rush things, but just kind of fast tracking certain portions. But by dealing with these face-to-face interviews, got a good chance of got to know you. So
I'm
with
excited.
that being likewise, we're also excited as well. I'm gonna go ahead and send the information out as soon as I finish up my notes, probably within the next hour. I will go ahead and communicate with you, most likely via phone call, as soon as I get any new information. Okay?
Gotcha.
Great. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll be in touch, Matthew.
Yes, sir. You have a good day too.
You too as well. Bye bye.